3-minute time limit on public comments, and anyone requesting a public comment can fill out a public comment card, which is available in the lobby. In order to conduct a timely meeting, there will be a 3-minute time limit per speaker. The public comment period will last a maximum of 30 minutes, and these limits may be waived by a majority vote of the council. All comments are to be directed to the City Council. While state law prohibits the City Council from taking action on a specific item unless it appears on the posted agenda, the Council encourages the citizens to voice their concerns. And if anyone has handouts to distribute to the City Council, please hand them to the City Clerk, who will see that they are distributed. Thank you, Mayor.
I'll remind the public that the council did have a discussion in the last meeting about the 3 minutes, and they have instructed me to enforce that. So unless they see a extreme situation, I think the council's agreed to stick to the 3-minute rule. So those of you who are planning on coming up for public comment, please try to refine those comments inside 3 minutes so that we don't cut you off. Also, I don't see on the cards necessarily if you're here for another purpose. So when I call your name or attempt to call your name, and I apologize in advance for any mispronunciations of names, if you'll let me know if it's not to make a public comment but to be included in a public hearing or some other part of tonight's meeting. Nazira Dawood.
Good evening, Mayor and the Council. Thanks for allowing me to speak today. We all experience emotional ups and downs from time to time caused by events in our lives. Mental health conditions go beyond these emotional reactions and become something longer lasting. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. They are medical conditions that cause changes in how we think and feel and in our mood. Examples of mental health conditions include depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, eating disorders, addictive behaviors. They are not the result of personal weakness, lack of character, or poor upbringing. About 1 in 5 adults has a diagnosable mental health condition. Mental health conditions are more common than cancer, diabetes, or heart disease. It affects persons of any age, income, race, religion, or culture, males or females. Mental health conditions often appear for the first time during young adulthood. Prejudice, stigmatization, discrimination are deeply embedded in our culture, language, in our beliefs, and in the way we interact with one another, mostly. Though a mental illness is only one aspect of an individual's life, all too often the labeling alone bars that person from achieving a self-directed life with meaningful connection to his or her community. In South Asian Americans, especially those between the ages of 15 to 24, more likely to exhibit depressive symptoms. Reports show that there's a higher rate of suicide among young South Asian American women than the general U.S. population. Reports also suggest that South Asian Americans have the lowest rate of utilization of mental health services, which shouldn't be a surprise if you are in the South Asian community. In our own backyard, the opioid overdose has been a topic of interest in the recent months. Opioid illicit drugs such as heroin and prescription medications used to treat pain are mostly causing this upheaval. Heroin is also an extremely dangerous drug in that it is highly addictive. It provides a profound sense of euphoria and peacefulness. Who is at risk? Anyone who uses opioid for long-term management for chronic cancer or non-cancer pain, or who use illicit opioids and misuse prescription pain medication. Naloxone or Narcan is used for antidote. From many, I've also heard that kids who are going for wisdom tooth extraction are being prescribed and they're getting somehow addicted to it. Take action today. Learn more about mental health. How can you help? As elected officials, I hope that you are able to serve the community in a much meaningful way and accept and refer the person in need to the resources available and not use the situation for your benefit. Many too often we say it's not in our home. That's not the solution. Let's work in unison.
Thank you, Ms. Day, with the 3-minute time
and not in isolation. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Mr. Singh, is that properly pronounced?
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and everybody. I'm here to behalf of all the Indian Asian community about sports, cricket. We're playing in the backyard from a long time, hundreds of thousands people over here, but the only sports don't have any ground in city of Jones Creek. I have some papers actually. We have a company who sponsor the event, and we have to force to go play in Decatur, Conyers, and Atlanta. Women's cricket sports is very important for us to support as well as young youth cricket. I'm requesting to have some park over here in city where we can play cricket. We have to drive more than 1 hour, thousands of people every Sunday going in different counties to play cricket, which is not in a safe. And plus, when we are making money, spending money, living here in this county, why not our own kids can play sports in our backyard? We have the revenue wise, this company is helping us big time, paying a lot of money to sponsor the events. But the problem is when we go out of town and different counties, all the revenue go to different counties, which can be kept in Jones Creek. And we have so many parks in Jones Creek at this time, which is sometimes empty. If we can have one of those parks named for cricket, where cricket can be played, I bet you once we start doing that, we can not only have a local cricket, we can bring national and international cricket in our backyard. Cricket is the largest sports, the biggest sports watching online and in air worldwide. If you look at that one, and of course we want to request you, to have some grounds available for that. I personally spend a lot of time through my business and sponsor those events. Even I went to Fulton County schools to educate about cricket, what cricket is. We have more than 200 teams playing cricket in Georgia at this time. We have probably 70 to 80,000 people in Jones Creek playing cricket, but they don't have any official ground where they can go and play cricket. That is my humble request to all the city council members and Mr. Mayor and all the public people sitting over here to look at this as a consider this to seriously to we can have a cricket ground, and the sports is the only thing I believe after education and music, which if our kids get involved in that part, I believe they are going to be very successful and we can make a big difference in our county. That's all I want to share.
Thank you for your public comment. And Mr. Hutmacher, I believe we're going to have a couple more speakers in a second about cricket, but maybe we can direct all three of them to work with one of our staff members to give them some input so that we can properly evaluate this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Vijay, is it Ganji?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilmen, and audience. My name is Vijay Ganji. I don't live here in Johns Creek, but I live in Atlanta. But I would like to move to Johns Creek. One thing that stops me coming here is that there is no cricket ground for my son to play. And my son is a national under-19 cricket player. He just went to Malaysia to play an international tournament. And all he has done is play cricket all over the Atlanta area, but there is no place for him to play cricket on Saturday or Sunday morning. And right now he is getting trained in England. The reason why I sent him to England, not like I want to spend money, the reason why he went there to play cricket because there is no proper infrastructure in the city of Johns Creek. And I believe there are at least 20,000 Indian communities, Pakistanis, and also Sri Lankans, and these people live here. And cricket is the second most popular sport after soccer. And you go to any ground, people play basketball, baseball, but you don't see anybody playing cricket. And these youth are kind of looking for a place to have fun, to be healthy. And I'd rather see kids on the ground on a Saturday, Sunday than on the street. I think it's very healthy to have a park for kids to play. And from my own personal experience, having a sport for these people, it's a very, very healthy situation. So I request the mayor and city councilman audience to take this into very seriously and have a place for these kids to play on Saturday and Sunday, and the revenue stays here. If there is a cricket ground, I will move to Johns Creek next month so that my son can play cricket here. Absolutely. And Johns Creek is a great, wonderful place. I have a lot of friends here. I come very often than any other city because I enjoy coming to Johns Creek, and I have some wonderful ethnic food. There are a lot of Indian restaurants. That's why I come here. So I'll be here every city council if you have a cricket ground here. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I don't know if this is Mr. or Miss, or if I'm even saying first or last name. Chandra Shakar? And I really apologize. I'm sure I got that wrong.
Good evening, Mayor and everybody. So, as Ganjay and Mr. Singh spoke, I'll be talking about cricket because I play cricket. So, to play that, I need to go either to Fowler Park or some other location. So, as Mr. Ganjay stressed about that point, if it is in Johns Creek and surrounding area, it will be very helpful for the youth as well as the kids. It is not only the economy, it is as you told, it is the number 2 sports, and in terms of the revenue, for example, if most of the countries place it, and the revenue generated is very high, so it will be a good economic revolution as well, and it is a very good sport which is similar to baseball. So it will I would recommend that if you encourage that sport, so that we can get an opportunity for the kids, which will be helpful in all the terms, in terms of the economy, in terms of the friendship, in terms of the relationship building. So that is our suggestion. So hopefully we expect that you will consider it and implement whatever has to be done. So
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Mr.
time.
Hutmacher, who do we have available to?
Kirk Franz is,
Is he here?
yes, and he's.
Kirk raised his
I
hand
just
so they
asked
can
him to
identify
meet
him.
with these folks.
In the back. So with the 3 gentlemen who've just raised the cricket issue, if you can just go see that gentleman in the back, he'll be happy to talk to you. He's waving his hand in the back. Kirk, thank you. So he's right back there in the back. Back left. Okay, Mr. Nandu.
I'm also here to talk about cricket.
Feel free. And then 4 of you can come see him.
Hello, good evening, Mayor. So I'm a Johns Creek resident since 2000. So others have talked enough about the economy perspective and things, but I just wanted to give a different perspective. So number one, the cricket is in terms of popularity is really growing up and going up in the US. ESPN noticed it. So for the first time in the ESPN 2 and 3, they had cricket for the very first time. So that is something to take notice of. Johns Creek high schools have started playing. Right? Johns Creek high schools have started playing cricket, and last week I think they played a championship game in Shakereg Park. So it's happening in high schools. So number 3, I'm looking at the future. Cricket is where soccer was 25, 30 years ago. So right now, today it's played by immigrants. But 15, 20 years from now, it's going to be played by across various communities, not just, cricket playing, people from cricket playing countries. So there is lacrosse. Lacrosse was, 15, 20 years ago, hardly anybody played lacrosse. Now it's a popular sport. That's what is going to happen to cricket. And so I humbly request you to consider having a cricket field in Johns Creek. It will be a great benefit not only to the current generation, but also the future generation. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. So this one doesn't have a person associated with it, but it's an organization, First Aid for All.
Good evening, Council. I'm Amal Bhatnagar. I'm a junior at Northview High School.
My name is Somal Naryani. I'm also a junior at Northview High School.
My name is Apar Bhatnagar. I'm an 8th grader who goes to River Trail Middle School.
And we're from First Aid for All. Our journey actually began when I was a sophomore. On every family trip, whether it was internationally in Mexico or India, or even here in downtown, I'd always witness massive amounts of populations who barely had access to basic resources such as food, water, and other necessities. I felt somewhat guilty because here in Johns Creek, we're really fortunate to have numerous luxurious amenities, but millions of people outside of this area struggle to get the same resources. And I began to ask myself, how can we as human beings knowingly allow others to suffer in these conditions? That's when I became motivated to start First Aid for All. Here at First Aid for All, we're a student-led nonprofit that focuses on alleviating medical inequality, primarily by 4 ways: distributing first aid kits, spreading awareness, volunteering throughout the community, and raising funds through different events.
Since our inception last year, we have officially received nonprofit status, worked with more than 13,000 pounds of medical supplies, and impacted over 320 people. We have spread our membership to Northview High School, Alpharetta High School, Johns Creek High School, Chattahoochee High School, Lambert High School, and River Trail Middle School. We have networked with organizations at universities and throughout the community. We have also received donations from Augusta University, supply drives, and our fundraising projects. In fact, we have worked with the Atlanta Braves and World's Finest Chocolates to help support our organization.
Our primary method for our mission is to distribute first aid kits. We have done so not only in Atlanta and Athens, but also in India. When I went to India during spring break to represent First Aid for All, I had the opportunity to see the poor conditions people were living in. In order to make a difference, we conducted a 2-part project. First, we went into the slums of New Delhi and distributed clothes and first aid kits. When we gave the poor the supplies, their faces lit up and couldn't stop smiling. Second, we donated first aid kits to an organization called Gunj, which distributes the supplies through the extensive network that they have. Personally, I feel that the happiness and gratitude that the homeless people show motivates me to continue working with this organization.
We're very proud of our progress so far, but we know that we can do more. We would like to work with the Johns Creek City Council and the community to help support our organization and make a greater impact on medical poverty. We are requesting for First Aid for All to conduct educational symposiums and talks at community events, gain monetary support through grants, and streamline efforts through cooperation. Together, we can change the public's ideology towards poverty and help change apathy to empathy and be the change. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Is it Jane? Miss, sorry.
Good evening, respected Mayor and the City Council. My name is Ekta Jain, and I'm a resident of Johns Creek. I moved to Johns Creek in the year 2010 from Gwinnett County so that I could provide a better education to my child. Gwinnett County has very good schools, but Johns Creek definitely has better schools. Now, I come from India. I was born and raised in India, and my parents laid a lot of emphasis on education. So much so that you can imagine, I remember making 1.5-hour trips each way in the morning and in the afternoon to go to a good school. I would take first a bus, then a local train, and then again a school bus to go to a good school. The reason for the long commute was very simple: to go to a good school to get good education. And that's the reason I moved to Johns Creek, so that my daughter could get that good education here in Johns Creek. Johns Creek, because I believe that good education is the key to future. I feel very blessed to be living in the city of Johns Creek, where I can fulfill the dream of providing good education to my daughter, as the city of Johns Creek has the finest schools in Georgia. You can very well see it by the representation by these Northview High Schools. That's the same school my daughter goes to. These schools not only coach the kids academically, but also offer ample opportunities to harness their creativity. You can see it right here. The high school clusters of Johns Creek have significant high rate of participation in school clubs like HOSA, DECA, Model UN, MD Junior, Robotics, and nonprofits like First Aid for All, CRY, SEVA, just to name a few. The Beta Club provides an excellent opportunity to instill the habit of volunteering and giving it back to the society. Johns Creek High School also have very active sports team, be it basketball, be it soccer, and now we would also like cricket teams. The city also has some excellent leadership programs to offer to these young minds, and it's heartwarming to see all high schoolers taking active participation in these leadership programs. Living in Johns Creek teaches these youngsters the important lesson of diversity and inclusion, which is so pertinent in today's world of globalization. When these young ambassadors of Johns Creek enter college and job market later in their lives, they will be very competent to work in multicultural teams. With exposure to multiple languages, cuisines, cultures, and perspective, these young minds can take on any challenge and resolve not just national issues, but global issues. I would like to thank the various departments of the city that work so efficiently to make it the third best city to live in the United States. Thanks a bunch for providing me this opportunity to speak in front of you. You all have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Last name, Joshi?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm Sunita Joshi, a resident of city of Johns Creek, and have been living in this area since 2005. I feel very fortunate to be part of the Johns Creek community and being a witness to the high growth of the city since it was incorporated in December 2006. I have been working with the people with special needs, mainly in the field of autism, for more than 5 years in the Atlanta area, and recently I have been appointed as an advisory council member of Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities for Region 3. I'm glad to hear the events and programs our city organizes for this population. Last week I completed my orientation, and I gathered as a part of my orientation that more than 50% of mental health issues are related to the domestic violence, family relationship challenges, out of which 20 to 40% are caused by depression and the general issues like anger management, stress, emotional disturbance, and anxiety. In 2008, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention indicated that for every fatal suicide, there are at least 20 attempted suicides. The causes for these kind of mental issues can be attributed to difficulties in communication between generations, or fear of community ostracism, or lack of trust within the community. Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities offers many services for children, young adults, and families. There is a community awareness and education forum which will be held this week on May 25th, which is organized by the DCAB Community Service Board. And in my opinion, Fulton County needs an active initiative and participation in organizing such awareness forums for our city. I think healthy families and children are an important part of healthy community. My intention is specifically to mention here the importance of fitness and daily exercises, and incorporating them in our daily routine can help reduce the basic mental and behavioral issues to large extent. Along with working with people with special needs and their families, I'm also a certified yoga instructor, and I would like to brief you on how practice of yoga can be helpful to keep balance between mind and health as a preventive measure to avoid suffering issues like mental and emotional disturbance and stress and anxiety, and eventually have control on issues caused by them. My recommendation today and my request is, there is International Day of Yoga coming up in June, and I would like to conduct a yoga session in one of the parks in our city.
Thank you, Ms. Gochi. The 3-minute time limit is up.
And also, if you would like to discuss that with Kirk Franz, he can help you with that.